She slammed the paper against my door and shouted, "You can't live here. The lake belongs to us now." Her voice was sharp, cutting through the calm evening air like a siren. Neighbors peeked out from their windows, whispering, waiting for me to answer back. I stood still, watching her with a cold stare, my fists clenched at my sides. Karen, the self-declared queen of this neighborhood, wasn't even hiding her smirk. She pointed at the water, the lake that shimmered behind my backyard, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "This is HOA property. And you're trespassing on our docks." The audacity made me laugh under my breath. She had no idea who she was talking to. "I bought this land fair and square," I said calmly. "That lake access. It came with the deed." My words didn't shake her arrogance. Instead, she pulled out a fake-looking notice stamped with some blurry seal and waved it in my face, like it was the Constitution itself. "You either pay our fees, or you're gone by the end of the week," she hissed, as if she was the law. The crowd started murmuring, some siding with her, others looking uncomfortable. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Because what Karen didn't know was simple. She was standing on a dock I had built myself, years before she even dreamed of running this HOA circus. And if she kept pushing me, she'd find out the hard way that the men she was threatening wasn't just some random neighbor. The tension was thick. My silence only made her angrier. She leaned in, almost spitting the words, "If you don't leave, I'll call the cops right now." I smiled. Just a small one. Because if she really dialed that number, she'd be making the biggest mistake of her life. Her phone was already in her hand, screen glowing, her finger trembling with fake authority as she shouted, "Police. I need officers right now. There's a dangerous man trespassing on HOA property." Neighbors gasped, some of them even stepping back like I'd suddenly turned into a criminal. She was good at this, painting herself the victim, twisting the story before it even began. I didn't move. My arms stayed crossed, my face calm. I wanted her to finish. Because the louder she screamed, the deeper she dug her own grave. Within minutes, the sound of sirens echoed down the street. Red and blue lights splashed across the white picket fences. And Karen puffed her chest out like she had just won a war. She turned to the crowd, grinning smugly. "See. Law is on my side." 2 officers stepped out of the car. One of them, a young cop, walked straight toward me. Karen pointed at me so hard her finger shook. "That's him. Arrest him. He stole our lake access and refuses to follow our rules." The officer looked at me, then at her, then back at me. "Sir, do you live here?" he asked, his tone cautious. I reached slowly into my pocket, pulled out a folded document, and handed it over. "This is the deed," I said clearly. "The land. The docks. Even that patch of grass she's standing on, it's mine." The crowd erupted with whispers. Karen's face froze, but she recovered quickly, laughing nervously. "That's fake. Don't listen to him. He's lying." She tried to snatch the paper, but the officer blocked her with one hand. My eyes stayed locked on her. "You really should have checked before calling them," I said, my voice steady. "Because the cops you just called, they know me very well." Karen blinked, confusion flickering across her face. What do you mean?" I didn't answer. Not yet. The real twist was about to hit, and I wanted her to sweat. The older officer finally stepped forward, his face lit by the cruiser's flashing lights. He squinted at me, then broke into a small, knowing grin. "Well, I'll be damned. Sergeant Miller." The crowd went silent. Karen's smirk vanished. "Sergeant," she whispered, her voice cracking. I nodded once. "Retired," I said quietly, but loud enough for every ear in the street to hear. The officer reached out, shook my hand firmly, and clapped my shoulder like we'd fought side by side. Karen's jaw dropped. She scrambled to save face. "He's lying. He's just pretending to be." But the officer cut her off. "Ma'am, I know this man. Served with him overseas. Decorated vet. And if he says this property is his, then it's his. You might want to watch where you're standing right now. Because you're on his dock. Gasps rippled through the neighbors. Some even laughed nervously, trying to hide their shock. Karen's cheeks flushed red as she stammered, this is ridiculous. He can't just own the whole lake. Not the lake, I corrected smoothly, pulling out a second paper from my folder. I unfolded it slowly, letting the moment hang heavy. But every dock around it. Yeah. Those belong to me. Karen's hands shook. She reached for her phone again. This isn't over, she spat. I'll take this to court, I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only she and the nearest neighbors could hear. Then I suggest you bring real documents next time. Not the kind you printed off your home computer. Her face drained of color. For the first time that night, she had no comeback. And I wasn't done yet. Karen didn't back down. Her pride was too loud. Her ego too swollen to let her walk away defeated in front of the entire neighborhood. She shoved her phone back to her ear, raising her voice so everyone could hear. If you won't do your job, I'll call real enforcement. We'll see how long he lasts when the sheriff gets here. The younger officer glanced at his partner, uneasy. Ma'am, we are law enforcement, he said, but she ignored him completely. She was pacing now, pointing at me. Shouting words like squatter, fraud, dangerous. The crowd ate it up, some shaking their heads at her. Others waiting for the drama to explode further. I stayed calm. Silent. Watching. Because I knew exactly who was about to pull up next. Sure enough, the deep rumble of another engine rolled down the street. A larger black SUV stopped behind the cruiser. And out stepped a tall man in uniform. Badge gleaming under the streetlight. The real sheriff. Karen almost jumped with excitement, waving at him like a kid at a parade. Sheriff. Over here. Arrest this man, he's threatening our neighborhood and stealing HOA property. The sheriff didn't even look at her. His eyes landed straight on me. A smile tugged at his face as he walked forward with his hand extended. Miller. Thought I recognized the address. Heard you moved back into town. The neighbors froze. The officers exchanged looks. Karen's face went pale. You know him too? She asked, her voice breaking. The sheriff chuckled and shook my hand firmly. Know him. Ma'am, he trained half the deputies in this county. The air split with whispers and gasps. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish, but no words came out. She had just tried to frame the men who literally wrote the rulebook for the people. She was calling for backup. I finally turned to her, my voice low but sharp. You wanted the sheriff, Karen. Now you got him. And this was only the beginning of her unraveling. The sheriff turned toward Karen, his friendly smile gone now. His voice was firm, official. Ma'am, let me see that HOA notice you've been waving around. Karen hesitated, clutching the crumpled paper like it was her last shield. It's official HOA business. You don't need to. Now, the sheriff ordered. She swallowed hard and handed it over. He studied it for a moment, then looked at me. Just like you said. Fake seal. Wrong formatting. This isn't worth the paper it's printed on. The neighbors leaned in, whispering louder this time, some even laughing openly. One man shouted from the back, so all this drama was for nothing. Karen's face burned crimson. No, you don't understand. He's dangerous, he's lying, But before she could finish, the sheriff raised his hand. Enough. What you did tonight was trespassing, harassment, and filing a false police report. That's not just a neighborhood squabble. That's criminal. The officers moved closer. Karen stumbled back, eyes wide. Wait, no. I was protecting the community. I'm the one keeping order here. No, ma'am, the sheriff said coldly. You're the one breaking the law. The crowd erupted, some cheering. Others just stunned silent, as the officers gently but firmly took Karen by the arms. Her protests echoed through the street, but it was useless now. The queen of the HOA was finally dethroned. I stood still, watching her get escorted away. Neighbors' flashlights and phone cameras recording every second. Justice didn't always come quick, but tonight it came loud, and everyone saw it. The sheriff turned back to me, his voice softening. "Sorry you had to deal with this mess, Miller. We'll make sure she answers for it." I gave a small nod. I didn't fight for this country just to be told I can't stand on my own land. The neighbors were still buzzing. Some coming up to shake my hand. Others apologizing for believing her lies. But I didn't need their words. The truth was out. The docks were mine. The land was mine. And no self-appointed tyrant was going to take that away. As the sirens faded into the night, I looked out over the quiet lake. The water was calm again. And for the first time since I moved in, so was I.